Welcome to Dreamers to Leaders, Keeping It Real with Melody podcast. Melody is a classic dreamer who started as a flight attendant and worked her way to now a tech fashion trendsetter, thought leader, and dynamic entrepreneur in various industries. This podcast is for the dreamers and doers. Learn how to think, act, and speak big as business leaders share how they turned from dreamers to leaders.
Hello and welcome back. I'm your host, Melody. Do you want to grow your business using LinkedIn, get more engagement, get more clients? Well, our guest today is the not so boring LinkedIn guy. He proudly served in the Army and used to own an award-winning agency for gamification. He developed apps for Fortune 500 companies, was involved in the Harry Potter virtual world, Xbox, to name a few. He is now a LinkedIn coach and influencer. He's here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Troy Hippolito. Hello, Troy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Glad to have you here. Let's begin. If you could, we'll talk about your business, of course. But before that, share with our audience the twists and turns on how you got to your new venture today.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so I used to have a company that made video games or gamification. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a developer and a designer, and I was actually the top designer in Atlanta a few years in a row. And so I'm a UI, UX person as well as developer and all that stuff. And I had a company called ISO Interactive in the past, and we were doing awesome. You know, we had a programmer with a designer, and we had a small little office, about a dozen people, creating some really cool stuff. And it was going really great until it didn't. It all crashed. And I was very sad. And I was like, what's going on? And unfortunately, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. And Atlanta, Georgia has a bunch of Fortune 500 companies. They have a bunch of small mom and pops. They don't have the good middle ground, right? And so all our agency work came from the Fortune 500 companies because the mom and pops don't have a budget. And so we had to figure out what's going on. And we realized that all these large companies were taking the employees and people and bringing them inside the company. So it killed the whole agency model, which is much different than LA and New York. LA and New York depend on agencies. And so Atlanta is much different, and it hit everyone hard. And I had to figure out, how am I going to get more clients? Because I had all these awards and all these things, but they didn't really care because they were doing internal work because they're a little more corporate. Yeah. And so I ran into a buddy, his name is Feta, and he had a similar company, IT company. And I ran into another buddy, was a sales guy in New Jersey. And they both said LinkedIn. I said, what do you mean, LinkedIn? He goes, yeah, we build relationships on LinkedIn. And I realized one major thing. LinkedIn is about professional dating, like courting businesses, right? Mm. And so old-fashioned dating, let's put it that way, traditional getting to know people, like real networking. And I realized I was a terrible dater in real life. Like, because I'm very direct, I have some type A traits, and I know what I like, and I just go for it, which is not always the best thing. And so it's like going to this, meeting someone and finding this beautiful woman, and I say, I find you very attractive. I want to have 2 babies with you. you end up getting smacked. Yeah, and that's what a lot of people do on LinkedIn. They go in hard, and they try to sell. They don't really want to get to know that person. So what I ended up doing was formulating the dating scenario for companies and to really figure out what was the right pace. How do you get to know this person? How do you become genuine? And how do you help others? And so I realized if you come from a place of service, things are a lot easier. And I said, this works so well. I can get 35, 40 meetings a week easily. And I said,
how did you juggle that though? 30 to 45 meetings per week, all virtual though, right?
Yeah, they're virtual. Most of them virtual.
A lot. That's a lot to...
There's probably only 1 or 2 a week that's in person. And COVID's kind of holding that back. But my meetings were not really designed for business. They were designed for meet and greet. So short little meetings.
Got it.
And so that is too many meetings for me because I have a business to run. So I want to bring it down to about 20. And so my methods work really quickly. I could have 80 meetings a week if I really wanted to, but that's insane. It makes no sense to do that, because if you bring a client in, it's based on referral or their exact need. They come straight to you from my profile, or they see a post or a message or something like that, and they say, I need that help. But I only want 2 clients a month, because I have the high-end clients, and then I have all my course material I'm doing for LinkedIn. And I said, well, if I had more than 2 clients, high-end clients a month, it would be hard to deliver. Even though I have a team, it takes some time to make sure that they're set up properly to be successful. And so I actually reduced it quite a bit. The key is really just figuring out how can you be an authentic person and just provide value without any reward.
Quite tough to be authentic and have that building relationship with 30 to 40 meetings.
Yeah, I don't do that now. I cut that down to about 20-ish type of meetings a week, because what I want to do is I want to connect people with the right people, and I want to just deal with the good people. So most of the people that want to hire me, I don't accept the relationship, because they have to have a certain qualification. They have to have the same mentality, wanting to help individuals. They have to their audience has to exist on LinkedIn in an active form, a portion of them. And the third is they need to know how to close the relationship, the deal, or whatever they're trying to do within the right amount of time. And a lot of people are not built that way. They want to sell. And it's
you were able to streamline your filtering process to really get to the core clientele that you'd be able to really help.
Yeah, and people say, how are you going to make money with 2 clients a month? Oh, you can make a lot, because a client has to put a chunk of money down, and then they have to pay monthly. So just think about it as compound interest running in your favor. And then my course material, if we get a partner that has a lot of people that need the courses, we'll just give them 25% for the list, and you get a big chunk of change from there. So there's lots of opportunities for everyone to make money. I think you just have to have things that people want, and you just have to go in there and see if you can actually help them. And some people don't know the difference between help and spam. So if I had to give one tip, it's like, if someone wants to engage with you, don't give them stuff they didn't ask for, or at least ask them permission. Do you want me to send you this, or does this make sense to do that? And then allow them to come back at you in order to complete the conversation,
Right. So it just goes back to the basic respect, right? Respect people's time and have some finesse, especially with the pandemic and how the workforce is shifting, right? There's a lot that are going through maybe shutdown of companies and are now trying to retrain and basically pivoting to a different industry, maybe. What has helped you with that transition?
Oh, reducing the number of friends I have, just to the core people that are genuine and would really help. We can help each other out. I'll give you an example. I wanted to do this courseware stuff, right? There's no way I could have done it myself. I got other things going on, right? I'm a single parent. I'm running this company, helping with clients. I'm hiring people for helping with people with posts and conversions and all that. I said, how do I get this course material out? Because it could make a lot of money, and it could help a lot of the lower end dollar amount of people, the people that can't afford the higher end services. I said, but I just can't afford to really do this. And I thought of it creatively. And I said, well, how can I get partners that supplement the things that I don't do well? And so one of those partners was Ed Forteau. He's an email guy. So we have this monthly show that has thousands of people on it. And email is a big portion to make sure the audience shows up and gets excited about the guest speakers and all that other stuff. And I said, you know what? All these LinkedIn courses, I don't want to do them all. I'm not saying I'm lazy, but I can't do them all. So I bumped in again to my old friend, Jean-Michel. He's another LinkedIn expert. And I said, hey, Jean, I'm redoing my profile. You want to take a look at it? And we did a little Zoom, and he loves to talk. And he went through it already. I was already going to do it. I said, let me do this so I can send him some clients. And so I made a 45-minute video for him going through my profile and him and I going back and forth. And I chopped it up in 7 bits. And I put it out there on LinkedIn. And then I put them back together inside an article. So I had an article of 7, and he loved it. I said, he goes, how are you giving me these clients for free? Nothing's really free, but if I give him something, give him 2 or 3 clients, he's going to be excited. And I wanted him excited. I said, this would make a good course, wouldn't it? He said, yes, let's do a course. So I made it his idea. And he's all for making this course. And on the show, we advertised the course, and we didn't want to do it for free. So we said, let's do a live course, charge $100 for this, whatever, for 3 days. And then I'll do mine for 3 days. It'll be like 9 hours of content, and we can cover the cost. So I always wanted to cover the cost and to make it happen. And it worked really, really well. It covered all the costs of the courses. And now we have a website, and we have all these courses. Now we have people that are lining up. Well, not lining up. We have 3 major potential clients that we'll just give them 25% of the conversion. And that's a good bit of money. So finding relationships that are very beneficial and concentrating on the people that have the same values as you is very, very
important. Quality control there. Quality versus quantity. So for those that are in the crossroads, so for our audience out there, they're in the crossroads, and they know this industry, just like with you in the gaming industry. It's 159 billion. At least 2020, 159 billion industry from hardware, software, and services. Mm-hmm. And one would think, hey, this is where I belong. All my training has always been here. Aside from those 2 people that said, hey, try LinkedIn. What made you really shift from gamification to LinkedIn being the pro go-to person?
I saw a path to success, and honestly, I had a small shop, and I got burned out. I'll just be honest with you. I got burned out because you have these, the games that we did were like under $1 million. So there weren't these AAA games. There were projects that came up. And so a lot of those stuff is location-based. So we're located in Atlanta. It's not a game central state. And so we were doing pretty well, and again, until we didn't. And it was too much because when we hired a new person, like making video games is the rock star of programming. And it's a really sexy thing, you know? You get to build stuff that no one else gets to. A programmer right next to the designer and the 3D guy, they're working together to create like really, really cool stuff. And so it's
from Harry Potter, right? So you were doing
we did the Harry Potter virtual world for free. We had 200,000 people on that thing. I did Coca-Cola Enterprises site through another agency. I did U.S. Army stuff, Wrigley's, which is a candy brand for Skittles, and did mobile apps and stuff, and project managed this and helped develop that and all that sort of thing. So it was really fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but another issue is not besides location is that people don't care how good your portfolio is. They want what they want. And so you have all the competition around the world. It was kind of competing nationally, and these people that come in, you can give them a small salary because they're really excited, because the payout isn't that much. It's not, we don't produce a lot of money. So we're kind of shoestring budget. And then next year they would all go to like the IBM or somewhere where they're offering triple the amount of money, and you can't compete with that. So the business model for Atlanta was not the best because we didn't have our own product. We developed products to others. And when we're doing the LinkedIn stuff, we looked at it and we said, you know what? There's an avenue to help people, an avenue to success, because we were able to convert jobs. And I said, well, do I want to do this or do you want to do that? I said, let me work on my personal skills a little better, because I'm kind of a nerd, right? And I'm not the smoothest guy out there, And I said, let me work on being authentic in the relationships, and then they'll see through that. And it worked out really well. So That's
how long have you been doing this, being in this space?
For the LinkedIn stuff, I would say about 3 or 4 years. We just did a rebrand to the Troy Agency. So it was ReturnClient, and it was a little corporate. And I said, you know what? Let me be personable. The Troy Agency. To be honest with you, I fired 90% of my clients and pretty much started over.
That's bold.
Well, we had clarity.
Nice.
And the clarity is, if you're not going to make the meetings, if you're not going to be sincere about what you're doing, if you're not going to help people, maybe you're the wrong client for me. And there's a certain type of client I work with to be successful. Well, I have a client right now that did exactly what I did at other agency, and he hired me specifically for that. He goes, oh, yeah, I need to get projects $200K a month to do that. And I said, well, these are the elements you need. And I push him. I had a meeting with him today. I said, these are the things that I need in order to help you to be successful. And I don't say hold their feet to the fire, but their hands are definitely in the cookie jar.
Let me add on to that firing of clients. But it's really in life, there needs to be discipline and clarity in saying no to things that are fluff, that are the excess fat that you need in order to be lean and to be more efficient and hopefully to be able to scale better and get a better ROI, right? It's the name of the game.
Yeah, I think that people have to get out a little bit outside their comfort zone, but they have to do what they have to do. For example, I'm taking this interview from an Airbnb, so I don't care. I need to make these things happen, and I don't care who knows. They said, oh, this guy's going to make it no matter what. He's not going to give an excuse not to show up on the show.
So I was sharing with you previously that I did 3 Zoom meetings while on a hiking trail in Oahu. So beat that, Troy.
I think a McDonald's is worse.
Is it?
I did it at a McDonald's.
No, really
they see the menu, like it's the glass window, but the reverse stickers of the menu and stuff. They knew where I was at. I didn't care. And I used I always have a secure line on the secure internet connection, of course. So there was even one time where I was at a location having a Zoom meeting, and it seemed like I had a virtual background. And I was thinking, oh my, and I kind of saw, the image, right? Yeah.
And it seemed so surreal, but.
Yeah. So that was a better meeting than mine. I can't surreal the Big Mac burgers behind me. No, so you actually had a great setup.
It's great. But what I'm also trying to allude to is, hey, you're in an Airbnb. You could be anywhere. There's no excuse. You have your calendar. That's my pet peeve, You
live off your calendar.
So you have your calendar. You committed to that. Yes, you had your detours and perhaps you were supposed to be somewhere and you couldn't, but hey, you have a phone. There's Wi-Fi. You blocked someone's calendar. You better show up, right?
Yeah. And if you can't,
and showing up is half of the battle.
Yeah. And if you can't, just have the courtesy to let you know if you can reschedule ahead of time, and just make things happen. I think that people are slowly getting it. I think they should have had it a long time ago, but I believe it's not on the calendar. It doesn't exist. That's just how I operate. Right. So we have a meeting. I said, no, we don't. Don't have a meeting right now. No, we don't. If it's not on the calendar. Another thing I think that people need to do is embrace a routine. Like whether it's whatever you're doing in business or whatever, and then have separation, of course. So I've created a day-to-day process for LinkedIn. Matter of fact, I have a show coming this Wednesday, and we're talking about specifically that, right? The day-to-day, a repeatable daily process on LinkedIn. And so the key for that or anything is to figure out what's the most important thing to do, how to get it done, and how to get out. I mean, who wants to screw around on LinkedIn like all day? I mean, that's just not fun if you're running a business. Right. You want to figure out how to be most effective to convert,
So get in, get there, get it done, get out, right? Mission done, mission accomplished. So imagine LinkedIn, founded 2002 here in Cali, and in 2 years already have a million active subscriber. And, it's like 2 decades of journey, and they're the main platform to really connect with real professionals globally.
Oh yeah, right? Your LinkedIn profile is more important than a resume.
Or your business card.
Job hunters, when people are looking, they look at that first, and they want to check out who you know, why you know, what you look like, where you're at, all those details that are going to help you succeed in whatever area that you're going for. So you got job hunters, you got a ton of recruiters, you got a lot of B2B, and even B2C, like coaches. They do, individuals, but high ticket type of situations. And so those things work really well if done properly. Yeah.
So you mentioned kind of the parallelism of being effective in LinkedIn and your techniques in dating.
Oh,
so what are the main takeaways that you've learned that you think would be really helpful to be effective in creating that great relationship, building, connecting with clients?
Well, one thing I do is I suggest people to loosen up a little bit. Like, show the scars, but don't show the wounds. Like, they don't want all the greedy details and stuff. But I think us, as in the U.S. anyway, maybe all around the world, we like a good story. We like, that's why we like soap operas and what are those shows that come up? There's reality TV shows. We love them. It's because all of a sudden I was living in my car and now I'll make $1 million. They want to see that journey. They want to see that person. So on my profile, I let them know I'm a single parent. I let them know that I was in the Army. I let them know that I was in IT. I let them know I'm very upfront and very direct. And if I can help you, great. I just put myself out there as a person. And they said, oh, I can relate to this individual. Sometimes on Mondays, I will once in a while post Keep It Real Mondays. So something I screwed up or someone screwed up, that was fixed. And so it's okay because everyone wants to be super perfect and everything like that. That's not realistic. That makes you very unapproachable. So my thing is that loosen up, be a little human. Of course, don't go left field and break all the rules and stuff. Right. But it's all right. It's all right to talk about certain subjects. I talked about how I lost a client, how I thought I had this client, and I was sure that I had him, and I didn't. And what happened? And I broke it down to three areas. I said, well, number one is maybe the wrong type of client, but number two, my contracts were too long. And I always want to kind of encourage people to kind of connect the dots on how to do certain things. Example, they talk about touch points in sales, right? Oh, you have to have 12, 15 touch points before the first meeting or whatever, right? That does not mean to spam them.
No.
So how do I engage with someone before I meet them? And there's some simple process. I'll give you an example. Oh, I want to connect with this person. I want to engage with this person, right? I'll look him up. I'll tag him on my browser, and I'll put a little bookmark on it. And then I will look at his post, and I'll engage in his post. And if he replies back to it, I may engage in another post that week. And at least I had 2 conversations with him. Mm-hmm. So a touch point is me writing. Another touch point is him replying back and having a conversation. Mm-hmm. And there's another post in there. And then maybe next week, I'll send him a connection invite or something.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, Troy, is be authentic, right? Be genuine, be human in that interaction to make a meaningful connection. Don't bear it all. Maybe serve the appetizer, but not the main entree initially, right? And so help them. There's that law of reciprocity. Yeah, I think in the professional world. So extend your hand first. See what you can do to help. As you said in your bio, you're a fixer. So you like to fix and solve problem. So when you do that and you have that mindset, then it's easier to connect. I mean,
much easier. So there is a litmus test. And you know what a litmus test is? That thing you dip in there and it turns whatever color, like, infected, not whatever chemicals in it. And to pass the litmus test is super easy. If this business guy, willing to meet you at a bar, hypothetically, not physically, but if he feels like I could have a beer or a drink in this high-end bar with this guy, right? Then you're in the zone. That's really where you want to be, because you have to think, if during these times of COVID, I'm very protective in general, right? And I'm not going to badmouth anyone or whatever, but I also don't want to tell people any of my personal feelings or ideas, business, personal, whatever it is, until I trust you. That's the trust portion. And if you can get to the trust portion where they would want to take you out and have a drink with you, then you're in the friend zone. And they trust you enough to have that kind of conversation. But the concept is that more than a coffee, it's a friendship. It's a friendship, like my buddy. Like, I don't want to hang out with...
Initially. So, okay, you spotted a profile. You want to connect. You think there could be something there. So is there like a litmus test from there to profile, or the litmus test that you're referring to is you already have somehow done 2 touches?
Well, when I say the litmus test when you're in the zone, I'm referring to when you're at a good place already. So if I go out to a bar, a high-end bar with someone, it's more than a coffee. It's like we're friends. So I can provide information.
Acquaintance to friendship type of thing.
Yeah. You kind of going to the friendship stuff, and people won't tell you acquaintance is the same thing they tell a friend. You know, because if you're authentic and you're there to only help, they have a level of trust. That's where you want to be at the end. You want to have that level of trust. I'm not saying that you need to go to a bar or anything like that, but I'm saying the concept of they trust you. That's the feeling of trust. But if you had to have a scenario from A, B to C to D, yeah, sure, 12 touch points, but not spamming on LinkedIn messages or anything like that. When I send a connection invite, I send one message after I'm connected, right? So if I want to, I'll start from the beginning. If I want to engage with someone and do less is more, and I want to only engage with certain type of people, I will engage with their post if they're active, and we have real conversations that go back and forth there. And then I may send a connection invite, or they'll send it. A lot of times they send it to me. And so as soon as we're connected, I'll do something as simple as send a message on the LinkedIn app. When you want to build a relationship, you want to think a little bit about strategy. So how do I engage someone without being annoying, right? So we'll talk about what not to do. Don't send message after message after message because you're trying to get your 12 touch points. That's what we call spam, right? So we don't want to spam people. In case you didn't know what spam was, it's when you send all these damn messages in a row that no one wants to hear. Like, don't write novels on LinkedIn Messenger. The LinkedIn Messenger is made for a very short. It's like if an email had a baby with a text. Well, some people write long texts, but texts are meant to be very short. Maybe a little longer than a text on the phone, right? Another rule, don't send them articles and links unless you know them, or at least you ask your permission. So LinkedIn is very permission-based. So you have to see if they'll actually respond. And some people are not LinkedIn people. So you have to identify, if you connect on LinkedIn, is there another method to reach out to them that's more suitable to that individual? So I'll give you a scenario. Mm-hmm. Say I want to connect with these 5 people this week, right? And I look at them and I know that they're pretty active and they're posting. They kind of fit the right criteria and they seem like good people, right? I always look for like family oriented, like real people that have a unit to take care of, right? Because their thoughts processes are usually a little different. And I say, I'm going to engage in their post, and they're replying back. So when I engage in their post, it's a touch point. When they reply back, it's a touch point. The conversation is a touch point, right? And then depending on how you're speaking, you can kind of shift the conversation to what makes sense to that individual. You may like or engage in another post. And so before I ever send a connection request, we've probably had conversations already. So I send a connection request and they already know me. They feel like they know me. They say, oh yeah, I know this Troy guy. And I said, yeah, it was a great post about so-and-so. Feel free to connect if it makes sense. And you just moved from your 30% acceptance rate to like 90. Mm-hmm. And then you also moved the relationship down the line. And so you went from talking and having conversations and then being happy to connect with that individual, to have that type of conversation. This is the other thing that I do that's quite different. See this right here? You can have, most people have LinkedIn on their mobile device, right? Mm-hmm. And I think like 70% of people use their mobile device for LinkedIn, which is teetering over what they're doing for the browser. But the LinkedIn app has some special features. They're designed for the mobile app, and they can help you being authentic. One of those features is the little video feature. If we're connected, I can send you a video, not a video link that goes outside of LinkedIn. I'm talking about a native video goes pushed right inside the LinkedIn Messenger. So after you connect, what's the logical thing to do is to thank them. Right. You thank them for connecting. If you send a video on there, 20 seconds, 30 seconds tops, no selling. No. Just say, thank you for connecting. I really appreciate it. And I know we had whatever the scenario is, talk about them.
So you can record yourself and then push it to that post to engage with.
No, push it to the message. As soon as you connect, you can wait a day or whatever's appropriate and send them a video thanking them. And it does a feature.
It's a feature in the mobile.
The LinkedIn mobile app. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a feature in there. By doing that 20 to 30 seconds long, you've done a couple of things. You've taken the time to read their profile proper, or you won't be able to have a conversation. So they know you're talking to them because it's one video for one person. Mm-hmm. And you're engaging with them, you're thanking them. That's the point of a welcome video. And then you say, I agree with whatever you were talking about in the post, whatever it is, or I notice that you're doing A, B, and C, and you have a conversation that's specific to them to connect the dots. And then after that, what I tell them, this is just me, I have a stellar profile. So I said, well, if you have a moment, feel free. And I point over to my left shoulder. I don't know if this is right or left, depending on how the video goes. If I point over my left shoulder, it points to my name. You click on my name, you see my profile. That's why I always click over to my left. And I say, feel free to just take a look at my profile. If you see any dots to connect, feel free to send me your schedule link, and I will book a time with you. I'm not pushing my stuff. I'm inviting them to saying, if you really want to talk to me, if you see something special there, send me your booking link. That way you're not pushing anything. It's the ball is in their court. It's non-invasive, and I say, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. And I smile through the whole thing. 1/3 of the people convert to a meeting on that one thing. Mm-hmm. And it's powerful.
I could be a testimony to that, because there's quite a few that would go to my message via, LinkedIn. And of course, it automatically goes to trash, or I delete, or just mute the conversation, or what have you. But you're absolutely right. The video that you sent, it seemed like you went through the profile. You knew what you were saying. It was brief, to the point. And at the same time, you then, there's that.
You had a feeling I wasn't going to sell you something.
Exactly. I wasn't
a creepy person that was trying to do something, because.
So that's great. Mm-hmm. LinkedIn, for a lot of people, they think, compared to, let's say, TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, there's a little bit of it being a little sterile and quite intimidating. What would be your advice to someone that, yes, have a LinkedIn profile, which is majority of everyone globally that is in the professional field, I think, but haven't really harnessed the power of LinkedIn? What would be like maybe a few baby steps to dabble into it, to see how, it's not as intimidating as what other people perceive it to be.
It's pretty interesting you asked that. I had a 5-day challenge for posting the other week, right? And I just put it on my show, and sometimes we capped the show at 100 people, and sometimes we capped it at 500, whatever it was. And that time we capped it at 100 people to enter the show. And how many within 2 or 3 days, how many people signed up for the 5-day challenge?
How many?
100. So at first it was like 30 that day, but we had the email list, we had 100 people sign up. And the goal of that was just to do stuff. Get off your butt and do it. Get out your comfort zone. So what I would say is just go for it. And it's okay to make mistakes. You don't want to be too outlandish. You need to be aware that you can't curse. You don't want to be very morbid or anything like that. People don't like that in general. For most people, you just have to go out and do stuff and go out and present yourself. Get out of the closet and just say, hey, here I am, and I'm doing A, B, and C, and go for it. And then you'll find where you fit. And you're going to be awful at first, and people are going to love it. People like people that have flaws in them because they remind them of themselves. Another thing, too, is hire a LinkedIn coach. And there's a lot of fake coaches out there for anything, lifestyle coaches or whatever.
Right.
But work with someone that will help you get where you need to go. And then once you start moving, you got to identify, well, what's my goal on LinkedIn? And then develop your profile that shows you who you are. And then once you get those things down, create something. What am I going to do today on LinkedIn? And how do I keep this thing going? So most people don't realize is if you have a process, you can tweak the process, but you have to have some kind of process that you do daily. And you'll find out this thing works a little better for me. And this converts better. And then having that daily process and committing to a little bit of time every day on LinkedIn will get you mountains of success. You want to go out there and deal with honest people because you don't want to mix the weird energy. You want to work with people that can uplift each other. And then when you get that trusted network, things become a lot easier. So number one, just start doing stuff. Number two, seek out help. It's okay. Number three, create some kind of daily process that you can see improvements over time and just keep with it. Some people only have 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn. Some people have an hour and a half. But typically, if you have an hour a day, you can convert very well on LinkedIn.
See, I think what has been a challenge for me personally is knowing A, the audience, and B, how your voice and your content would be different from one platform to another, right? So early on, early 2000. So in my head, Twitter is it's almost like a bar, right? Where you just kind of strike a conversation with whoever, nice day out there, right? It's just kind of that casual. You don't really have to have any relationship. You just kind of want to be out there and you want to just say your thoughts. So it's like a bar. And then you think of Facebook as your living room, right? So a lot of family, a lot of, kind of borderline personal because, it's really family from across the globe and that's how you connect. So they equate that as your living room. And then there's LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn is like your home office where if your analogy is a home, that's where you go, to conduct business. So, for a lot,
I would change the analogy now. I think LinkedIn is more like the fun bar you go to network,
so it's like a a professional networking.
More so, because the business you do is actually outside of LinkedIn. So your home office is the work you get from LinkedIn, and LinkedIn itself is more like the high end bar where you meet like really successful people.
So the 5-day challenge, with regards to contents, what would you suggest would be most effective considering a professional? So for a lot of people there that want to think of content specifically for LinkedIn, you want to be authentic. You, at the same time, you want to be professional. So like, for example, if it's too much family, let's say, that's a little bit too personal. When is it that what you're doing outside work, that it's okay to have it out there, even though that's not really your
everyone will have
persona?
everyone will have their own rhythm, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just got to figure out what that is. So for me, Mondays are usually about something to think about. Something went wrong, something got fixed. Like, oh, this is interesting. I never thought about it this way. The middle of the weeks are usually about learning something, some tips and this stuff like, oh, I didn't know that. And then Fridays or later on in the week maybe has something to do more personable. Like I even had a video that I didn't do. It was a little baby dancing. And so it says, why would you do that? But it was about family and it's about having good vibes on the weekend. And so I'm a family-oriented person. I want them to see another side of me. It's not very super personal, but it's really like, oh, I like this. It makes me feel good. It's on the weekend, and it makes me think about what I should do on the weekend. So the ones on Fridays are usually, and I didn't post this week because I've been traveling, but are usually geared towards how do you feel good? How do you recharge for the next week? Why family is important, or what events that I do? How can I relate this to my personal life a little bit? And that's kind of my flavor, of doing stuff. Now, your other question was, how do I get these ideas? Like, they don't know what to post. I think that's what you were trying to say.
Or they know, but they think, is it appropriate? Is it LinkedIn appropriate? Because it might be more of an Instagram content.
if you're solving a problem that people have, so whatever you do on a day-to-day basis, you're helping people, or you wouldn't have a business, right? Think about, how did I help someone today?
Ooh,
think about that.
That's a good question.
And you're always solving problems. What did I find inspirational? What did I like to do, that I thought was cool?
So with LinkedIn, it's great to form a connection and build relationship. And that reminds me of, I think it was Gary Vee, that said, saying hello has no ROI. It's building relationship, right? It's through building relationship that you get that. And just to kind of add on and tie it back to what we were talking about, like you're in Airbnb and I was in Oahu, and I was still able to, with family, and such, and still able to conduct business, how the world really, really has changed, right? And how easy it is to connect globally and to have a meaningful relationship, or even a very profitable relationship, really leveraging technology. So, with a Zoom, anywhere you can, or WebEx or whatever platform that you want, right? And then secondly, come to think of it, listening to you and, with experience with technology before, imagine getting a few clients. What would it take, Troy, to get a few clients, right? Mailing, cold calling, etc. Now, with what you said about, you go out there, look at the profile, you think it's someone that you're interested to know and to connect with. There's really just a basic formula for that, and you alluded to it. So freaking like what you think is good. Don't hide that you like it and not do anything. Take
action. Yeah, you definitely want to take action to engage with that individial.
So maybe retweet. And
well, there's no retweet on LinkedIn.
I know. But if, let's say you
repost it. I'm not just being difficult. But yeah,
you could share though. You could share their contents. Mm-hmm. So you post something, you tag me, I share it in my profile. So why not share? So engage, share,
comment, all that stuff,
and really be thoughtful with that comment.
You have a good point there, and this is an excellent point. Don't say, "Oh yeah, great post." You suck if you say that. Don't do that.
Totally, or just
go in there and read and understand. And they have even cool things like they have a website called, I think it's called Giphy.com, where you can type in a word and it'll have an animated GIF. So you can download that and upload it to a comment, and then you can add to the conversation. So there's a lot of things. You use emojis, you can spice it up a little bit, but build a thoughtful comment.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's thoughtful, it's like 5 times more likely to be replied to. And that's what you want. You want that engagement coming back in.
And having that consistency. So it can't be like you do it and then you leave and forget about it. So maybe if I really want to focus on one, then so you do that, not only meaningful, but memorable, right? A memorable post that you would stand out. Like, who is she? Oh, that's pretty nice. That very insightful comment from this individual. So that's one. And then maybe another, and then, that consistency will make you be someone that they're going to be familiar with. Therefore, it's not going to be like, who's this stranger, wanting to connect, right? So it goes back to what you're saying on, how do you build
consistency is very important. Yeah. And having a certain tone so they know who you are. So if I would say, in order to be successful on LinkedIn, if they had components, right? If I had to break it down into components, I would say it starts with your profile. So we do profile makeovers and all this other stuff, but because your profile will separate you from everyone else that does what you do. Like my first tagline is the not so boring LinkedIn guy. It doesn't make any sense
right.
at all.
Yes, I like that.
I think I remember. Yeah, I remember that. It's kind of funny. Not it's not hilarious. It's not. Previously, I had a better one on my IT company. I was the #1 Swissipino game designer in the world. That's like my pickup line in the bars.
So for our audience out there, what is that? What is that?
Okay, so my mother's from Switzerland, and my father's Filipino. So I'm Swissipino. And I tell them at the bar, I said, yes, I'm the #1 Swissipino. So your profile has to be right from top to bottom. It's mostly visual, SEO optimized, tell a story. Figure out who you are clearly. So if you go to my profile, like, oh, I know what this guy does. Got it. He has a whole accelerator program. Awesome. He has good content, and they just want a good feeling on that. And so we do that. And then having that profile, then once your profile is really solid, it tells you who you are, it tells yourself who you are, and allows you to figure out who's my ideal prospect. Who's my ideal person to network with. And then you could, you could actually have some kind of way of your day-to-day routine, your daily process. Maybe I should reach out and issue a sales navigator to connect with certain type of people, or to reach out or investigate them, whatever it is. Right. You can create a little day-to-day process from that. So #1 is your profile. #2 is having a plan for engagement on your day-to-day process. And that could be outreach for messages and engaging, connecting. Another thing could be posting. So there's 3 areas here. There's profile, there's posting content, and there's your messages as well. And then it can extend outside of LinkedIn depending on the scenario and all that other stuff.
So if you could share with our audience, Troy, how they could reach you. If they want to do a makeover on their profile in LinkedIn, increase their engagement, set appointments, get more appointments and clients, and have meaningful relationship through that platform, how could they reach you, Troy?
LinkedIn, just type in my first and last name and the first person comes up. Troy, Troy, last name's Hippolito, Hippolito. I'm the guy that looks like me. So just connect with me. There's a booking link there in the description, you name it. And if you want some courses, just go to, what was the site? Essentialsforbiz.com. Essentials and the number 4 and then biz.com is the site we set up for the course. But feel free to connect with me and ask any questions. If I can help, I'm here to make that happen.
Wonderful. So what's going to happen? We will have the links to your site, so it'll be easier for our clients to reach you. Thank you, Troy, for gracing the show. Wishing you continued success.
Thank you very much, and the same to you.
And for all the dreamers out there, keep believing. You got this. Till next time.